I've been up here for 6 days now. 6 days on a platform that's maybe 4 feet by 6 feet, wrapped around the guts of a cell tower, 280 feet above what used to be farmland. The metal grating under me is always cold, even when the sun beats down hard enough to blister my neck. I can see for miles in every direction. That's the problem. I can see everything. The first thing you need to understand is that I wasn't supposed to be up here alone. Craig and I came up together on day 1. Day 0, I guess. If you're counting from when the world ended. We're tower techs. We're tower techs. We climbed towers, fixed equipment, kept the cellular network running so everyone could post their lunch photos and stream their shows. Important work, right? Funny how none of that matters now. We got the service call around 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Standard maintenance check at the Route 47 tower, out past Millbrook where the farms stretch on forever, and the only thing taller than the corn is the tower itself. The drive out was normal. Craig complained about his ex-wife. I half listened to a podcast about unsolved murders. The sky was that washed-out blue you get in late September, a few clouds scattered around like afterthoughts. The tower sits in the middle of a fallow field, access road barely maintained, surrounded by a chain-link fence that's supposed to keep out kids and copper thieves. The equipment shelter at the base is a concrete box, maybe 10 by 12, housing all the electronics that make the tower work. We parked Craig's truck inside the fence like always, grabbed our gear, and started the climb. 280 feet. That's roughly 28 stories. We've done higher. There's a tower outside Pittsburgh that tops 400, but this one's tall enough that your legs burn by the time you reach the platform. The ladder runs straight up the center of the triangular tower structure, with safety cables you clip onto every 20 feet or so. Takes about 20 minutes to climb if you're not rushing. We were maybe halfway up, taking a breather on one of the small rest platforms, when Craig's phone started going crazy. Mine too, both of them buzzing and chiming with emergency alerts, the kind you usually ignore because they're weather warnings or amber alerts from 3 counties over. But these kept coming, one after another. Craig pulled his phone out first, squinting at the screen. "The hell is this?" he said. "Says there's a biological hazard? Shelter-in-place order for the entire state?" I checked mine. Same thing. Then another alert. Then another. The messages were getting more urgent, less coherent. Reports of violence, reports of attacks, something about avoiding infected individuals, staying indoors, not approaching people exhibiting aggressive behavior or signs of illness. "Think it's real?" I asked. Craig shrugged. "Remember that Hawaii thing? False alarm about the missile?" "Yeah. Probably some glitch in the system. Some intern hit the wrong button." But he looked worried. We both did. The alerts kept coming. I tried calling my sister in Columbus, but the call wouldn't connect. Network was overloaded, just a dead tone. Craig tried his ex, then his daughter. Nothing. We should have gone back down right then. That's what I think about, up here on this platform with nothing but time and cold, and the view of everything going to shit below me. We should have descended immediately, gotten in the truck, driven home, or to wherever seemed safest. But we were already halfway up, and the maintenance work would take maybe an hour. And what were we supposed to do? Rush home because our phone said so? Craig had bills to pay. I had rent due. You don't just abandon a job because of some alerts. So we kept climbing. By the time we reached the top platform, my phone had stopped buzzing. Either the emergency alert system had given up or the network was collapsing. Probably both. The platform up here is small, cramped, just enough room for 2 people to work if they stay organized and don't mind being in each other's space. There's the main equipment rack, sealed weatherproof boxes containing the cellular equipment and backhaul radios. There's the antenna arrays mounted on the sides of the tower framework, and there's the safety railing chest high with a chain you can clip your harness to if the wind picks up bad. The view, though. God, the view. You can see everything from up here. The field we're in, brown and stubbled with last season's corn stalks. The access road cutting through it, red dirt showing through sparse gravel. Beyond that, More fields, some green with late crops, others bare. Farmhouses scattered around, white or brown shapes with silos next to them like punctuation marks. Route 47 running east-west about a quarter-mile south of us, a ribbon of cracked asphalt connecting small towns that probably peaked in population sometime around 1960. To the east, maybe 3 miles off, you can see Millbrook proper. Grain elevator, water tower, church steeple, few hundred houses clustered together like they're trying to stay warm. Craig opened the equipment rack and started running diagnostics. I checked the antenna connections, looking for corrosion or loose fittings. Standard work. My hands did it automatically while my brain kept chewing on those alerts. The sky was still clear. The fields were still empty. Nothing looked wrong. Then Craig said, "Hey, look at that." He was pointing toward Millbrook. There was smoke rising from somewhere in town, a dark column going straight up in the still air. While we watched, another plume started, this one thicker and blacker. "Fire department's going to be busy," I said. Yeah. We kept working. What else were we going to do? But I kept glancing toward town, and the smoke kept getting worse. More columns. After about 15 minutes, I could see the orange flicker of flames in a few buildings. Craig had stopped pretending to work and was just staring. "That's not right," he said. "No." My phone buzzed. I grabbed it, hoping for actual information, but it was just my battery warning. Down to 15%. Craig checked his. Same thing. Something was draining them fast, probably every app trying desperately to connect to an overloaded network. "Let's finish up and get out of here," Craig said. I agreed. We rushed through the rest of the checklist, probably missed half the things we should have checked, and started packing up the tools. That's when we heard the screaming, not from town, from below us. I looked down through the metal grating of the platform. The tower sits in the middle of the field, remember, with a good 50 yards of empty space to the fence in any direction. But there were people at the fence now, maybe a dozen of them, pushing against it, shaking it, some of them climbing. Even from 280 feet up, I could tell something was wrong with how they moved. Too jerky, too aggressive, like fighting dogs straining at a leash. One of them got over the fence, dropped badly on the other side, got up limping, and kept coming toward the tower base. Others followed. They weren't running exactly, more like a fast, stumbling walk, but they moved with purpose, directly toward the tower. "What the fuck?" Craig said. The concrete equipment shelter at the tower base has a metal door, locked with a padlock. We could see them reaching it, pounding on it, clawing at it. The sound carried up to us, a hollow booming that made the tower structure hum slightly. "They can't get up here," I said. "The ladder access is inside the shelter, doors locked." Why are they even trying? I didn't have an answer. We watched more of them arrive. They were coming across the fields now from multiple directions. Some of them looked injured, limping, covered in what might have been blood, dark stains on their clothes. They converged on the shelter, a growing crowd of maybe 20 or 30 people, all of them pounding and scratching at the door. Then, one of them looked up. I mean, really looked up, directly at us. I could see their face from here, pale and wrong somehow. Their mouth was open, and even from this distance I could hear the sound they made. Not a scream, not a shout. Something in between, wordless and hungry. Others looked up too. The sound got louder. They started grabbing the tower legs, the diagonal support beams, like they were trying to climb. But the ladder doesn't start until inside the shelter. The tower's outer framework is just steel beams, no way to climb it unless you're some kind of expert. They couldn't reach us. "Okay," Craig said. "Okay, we wait them out. They'll get bored and leave." Yeah, but they didn't leave. We sat on the platform watching them mill around the base. More kept arriving. After an hour, there must have been 60 or 70 of them down there. Some wandered off, but others took their place. The sun was getting lower, the shadows stretching long across the field. Craig's phone died first. Mine went about 20 minutes later. We had no communication, no information, just what we could see. and what we could see was smoke rising from multiple towns now. Millbrook was definitely burning. To the west, toward Harrisburg, more smoke. The highway had cars on it, but they weren't moving normally. Some were stopped at weird angles. Others were wrecked, crumpled against each other or in ditches. "This is really happening," I said. "What is?" "I don't know. Something. A thing everyone joked about. Zombie apocalypse, pandemic, whatever." Craig laughed, but it sounded sick. "We're stuck up here while the world ends." "We're not stuck. We just wait until dark, they'll disperse. We climb down and drive home." "Right. Yeah." But when dark came, they didn't disperse. We could hear them down there, moving around, making those sounds. The moon came up, nearly full. Bright enough to see by, bright enough to count them. There were over 100 now. They packed the area inside the fence, shoulder to shoulder in some places, all of them focused on the shelter or the tower base. We didn't have food. We didn't have water. We had our work gear, our harnesses, some tools, our dead phones. Craig had a water bottle in his pack that was maybe a quarter full. I had nothing. The temperature dropped fast once the sun was gone. September nights out here get cold. We weren't dressed for it. Just jeans and work shirts, hoodies. My company hoodie has a hood at least. Craig's didn't. We huddled on the platform, trying to share body heat, watching the shapes move below us. "We'll climb down in the morning," Craig said. "First light, they've got to sleep or something." "Sure." Neither of us believed it. I didn't sleep that night. Craig maybe dozed a little, but I stayed awake, watching the field, the roads, the distant towns. Fires burned out of control in Millbrook. The glow lit up the eastern sky like a false dawn. I heard sounds carrying across the empty land, screams, crashes, car alarms, gunshots. Lots of gunshots at first, then fewer, then almost none. When real dawn came, gray and cold, the infected were still there. That's what I started calling them in my head. Infected. Whatever they were, people or former people or something else. They were infected with something that made them like this. They didn't sleep. They didn't leave. Some of them stared up at us. Others scratched at the shelter door, a sound like rats in walls. "We need water," Craig said. His voice was rough. Neither of us had had anything to drink since yesterday afternoon. I checked the equipment rack. The cellular gear is sealed and weatherproof, but there's sometimes condensation that collects in the boxes. I opened one carefully and found a few drops of water pooled in the bottom. I licked it out, the taste sharp and slightly oily. Craig did the same with another box. It wasn't enough. It wasn't anything close to enough. "There's got to be a way down," he said. "Not through them. Around them." We climb down the outside of the tower, go down one of the legs away from the shelter, drop at the bottom, and run for the fence. That's like 70 feet of tower leg with no ladder. We'd have to free climb it. So, we've done climbs before. Not without gear, not with those things waiting at the bottom. He knew I was right, but desperation makes you stupid. We spent the morning arguing about it, planning impossible escape attempts, watching the field. The infected didn't leave. If anything, more arrived. They came from the roads, from the other fields, from directions I couldn't identify. By midday, there were at least 200 of them packed around the base. The sun was brutal. No shade up here, just metal and sky. My lips cracked. My tongue felt thick. Craig looked worse than me. His face was red and peeling already. We tried to rig shade using one of the weatherproof equipment covers, but there wasn't enough room on the platform to get out of the sun without risking falling off. That afternoon, Craig tried to climb down. I told him not to. I grabbed his arm, argued with him, but he shook me off. He was convinced he could make it. He'd go down the ladder inside the shelter as far as the door, then somehow force it open from the inside, get to the truck, and drive it close enough to the tower for me to jump down onto the roof. It was a terrible plan. The shelter door opened inward. Even if he got it unlocked from inside, the infected would force their way in the moment there was a gap. But he wasn't listening. Thirst and fear had broken something in his brain. He started down the ladder. I watched from the platform, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my temples. He descended steadily, clipped onto the safety cable, moving carefully. The infected below noticed. Their sounds got louder, more excited. They pressed against the shelter walls. Craig reached the bottom of the ladder. The shelter door was right there, just 5 feet away. I could see him hesitating, trying to work out how to reach it without unclipping from the safety cable. The cable was attached to the ladder, not the shelter. He unclipped. I wanted to scream at him to stop, but my throat was too dry. He stepped from the ladder to the floor of the shelter, a concrete pad with equipment boxes and cable runs. The door was steel, deadbolted from the inside. Smart design to keep vandals out. He reached for the deadbolt. The door exploded inward. I don't know how they did it. Maybe one of them was strong enough to break the lock, or maybe the repeated pounding had weakened the frame. The door slammed open, and they poured in, a flood of bodies. Craig screamed. He tried to climb back to the ladder, but they were on him in seconds, pulling him down. And I turned away because I couldn't watch and I couldn't help, and there was nothing I could do except hear him screaming and screaming until he stopped. That was 4 days ago. I've been alone up here since then. No food, no water except what little condensation I can lick from the equipment boxes in the early morning. The infected filled the shelter below me, packed in tight, and now they can reach the ladder. I can hear them on it sometimes, climbing. But the ladder is vertical and slippery with dew, and they don't have the coordination to make it more than 20 or 30 feet before they fall. I've watched 3 of them fall so far. They hit the ground and get back up and try again. My lips are split and bleeding. My tongue is swollen. I can't swallow anymore. The sun blisters me during the day, and the cold makes me shake at night. I've tried signaling for help, waving my bright orange safety vest, flashing the LED on my dead phone using the last backup power. But there's no one to see. No helicopters. No planes. The roads are empty, except for the infected. I can see so much from up here. I can see Millbrook burned down to foundations. I can see the highway littered with abandoned cars. I can see farmhouses with doors hanging open and fields full of wandering figures. I watched a family try to escape yesterday, running from a barn toward a truck. They didn't make it. The infected move slow, but they don't stop. And there are so many of them now. I'm going to die up here. I know that. The thirst is the worst part. My kidneys hurt, a deep ache in my back. My urine is dark brown when I piss off the side of the platform. Sorry to whoever's below, but modesty seems pointless now. I'm probably hours away from kidney failure, maybe a day if I'm unlucky. The view, though, I'll die with the best view in the county. Miles and miles of the world ending, laid out below me like a map. I can see everything. I just can't do anything about it. It's night again. I think it's night 7, but I've lost track. Time feels strange when you're this dehydrated. Hours stretch and compress. Sometimes I think I'm hallucinating. I see Craig standing on the platform next to me, telling me about his daughter's soccer game. Then I blink and he's gone, and I remember what happened. The infected are still down there. I can hear them. They've figured out that I'm up here, that I'm alive, and they won't leave. It's like they can smell me, sense me somehow. During the day when it's hot, I swear I can smell them back, a rotten, meaty smell that drifts up on the thermals. I found something today, though. In one of the equipment boxes, wedged behind a circuit board, there was a protein bar. Some previous tech must have left it there, forgotten. The wrapper says it expired 2 years ago, but I don't care. I ate half of it, trying to make it last. It was like swallowing sand. My mouth is too dry to chew properly, and I don't have the saliva to break it down. But it's calories. It's something. There was also a small bottle of contact lens solution in the same box, maybe an ounce of liquid. I drank it. I don't wear contacts, and I have no idea if contact lens solution is toxic, but I was beyond caring. It tasted chemical and burned my throat going down. But it was wet. For about 30 minutes afterward, my mouth felt almost normal. Then, the dryness came back, worse than before. I need to make a decision. I can either stay up here and die slowly of dehydration, or I can try to get down. Every hour I wait, I get weaker. Already my hands shake. Vision blurs sometimes. If I'm going to attempt a descent, it has to be soon, before I'm too weak to control my movements. The ladder is out. The infected have figured out the ladder, and even though they can't climb all the way up, they've made it high enough that I couldn't get past them. They wait on it now, clinging to the rungs, looking up at me. That leaves the outside of the tower. The tower structure is a triangle in cross-section, 3 main legs connected by horizontal and diagonal supports. From up here to the ground is 280 feet. The legs themselves are steel tubes, maybe 10 inches in diameter, too wide to wrap your arms around. But there are the cross braces, the diagonal supports connecting the legs. If I could climb down those, moving from brace to brace, I might make it. Might. I've done technical climbing before. We all have, in training. But that was with gear, with ropes and harnesses and safety lines. This would be free climbing, already weakened from dehydration and hunger, in the dark, and my depth perception is bad. The chances of falling are close to 100%, but staying is certain death. I've decided. When the moon comes up, it's rising later each night, but still bright enough to see by, I'm going to climb down the north leg of the tower. That's the side farthest from the equipment shelter, where hopefully fewer infected are congregating. If I can make it to the ground without falling, I'll run for the fence. If I can make it over the fence, I'll head for the road. Find water, find shelter, find somewhere that isn't this platform. It's a bad plan. It's probably suicide. But it's a plan, and I need one, because the alternative is sitting here watching my body shut down while the infected wait below. The moon is coming up now. I can see it rising over the burned remains of Millbrook, orange and huge on the horizon. Time to commit. I clip my harness to the platform railing so I don't accidentally step off while I'm preparing. The remaining half of the protein bar goes in my pocket. I take off my work boots and tie them to my belt. Better to climb in socks, more grip. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely tie the knot. I look down one more time. The infected are there, packed around the base, some on the ladder, others pressing against the tower legs like they're trying to climb through the steel itself. In the moonlight, they look pale and wrong, their movements jerky and strange. I can hear them, a low collective sound like wind through trees, but more organic, more hungry. This is stupid. This is insane. I unclip from the railing. The platform has a small gap where it meets the tower leg, just enough room to squeeze through. I sit on the edge, legs dangling, and reach for the first cross brace. It's about 3 feet down and 2 feet out, an awkward angle. My fingers close around cold steel. The metal is slippery with night dew. I test my weight on it, feeling it take the load. Solid. I lower myself off the platform. For a second, I'm hanging there, arms extended, feet searching for purchase. My socks find the brace. I ease my weight down. The cross brace is maybe 4 inches wide, enough to stand on if I'm careful. I'm on the outside of the tower now, exposed. Nothing but air and moonlight and 270 feet of fall below me. Don't look down. Climber's rule number 1. I look at the next brace, mapping my route. Down and left, to where 2 diagonals intersect on the tower leg. Maybe 6 feet away. I reach with my left hand, find the steel, grip it. Shift my weight, move my right foot. Left foot follows. I'm moving down the tower. It's slow work. Each move has to be calculated, tested, committed to. The steel is cold enough that my hands start going numb after a few minutes. My socks are soaked with dew and slipping. I'm maybe 30 feet below the platform when I lose my footing. My right foot slides off the brace. I drop, catch myself with my hands, slam against the tower leg hard enough to knock the wind out of me. My fingers are locked around a horizontal brace, all my weight hanging from my grip. Below me, the infected noise gets louder. They know something's happening. My feet scrabble for purchase, find nothing. And I realize I'm going to fall. I'm going to die. This is it. Then my left sock catches on something, a bolt head, a weld point, I don't know. and I get just enough leverage to swing my right foot onto a lower brace. I'm back on. My heart is trying to punch through my ribs. I press my face against the cold tower leg and breathe. Keep moving. I don't know how long the descent takes. Could be an hour. Could be 3. I stop tracking my progress in feet and just focus on the next handhold, the next foot placement. My hands are bleeding. I can feel wetness, though I can't see the blood in the dark. My arms are shaking from exhaustion. The thirst is making me dizzy. Twice more, I almost fall, catching myself at the last second. The sounds below are getting much louder. I'm close to the bottom, maybe 40 feet up, maybe less. I can see them clearly now, dozens of infected packed around this side of the tower, looking up at me, waiting. There's a small mercy. The tower legs sit on concrete footings that elevate them about 6 feet off the ground. The infected can't reach the lowest cross braces. If I can get down to that level, I'll have maybe a 6-foot drop to the ground, and then I run, 20 feet up. The infected are directly below me, reaching upward. Their hands look wrong in the moonlight, fingers bent at strange angles, skin torn or missing. Some of them are making sounds directed at me, wordless vocalizations that sound almost curious. 10 feet. I'm at the lowest cross brace I can safely reach. Below me is just the main tower leg, descending to the concrete footing. The leg is smooth steel, no handholds, impossible to climb. I'm gonna have to drop. 6 feet doesn't sound like much, but when you're already exhausted and there are infected waiting, it's an ocean. I position myself on the cross brace, getting ready to jump away from the tower, toward the fence. If I can land and roll and come up running, I might make it. The infected have figured out what I'm doing. They're moving, positioning themselves where I'm going to land. Smart. Too smart. I count down in my head. 3, 2, 1. I jump. The fall seems to take forever. Then, I hit the ground and my legs buckle and I'm rolling through dry grass and dirt. Pain shoots through my left ankle, twisted or broken, I can't tell. I come up and I'm running, or trying to run, more like a fast limping hop. The fence is 20 feet away. The infected are right behind me. My hands hit the chain link and I'm climbing, ignoring the pain in my ankle, driven by pure animal fear. The fence is 8 feet tall with barbed wire at the top. I get to the top and throw myself over, catching my jeans on the barbs, feeling them tear through denim and into my thigh. I fall on the other side, land badly on my already injured ankle, and scream. They're at the fence. Some are climbing it like I did. Others are just pressing against it, reaching through. I crawl backward, then force myself up. My left ankle won't take weight. I hop on my right foot, using my hands for balance, moving away from the fence. The access road is ahead. Beyond that, the open field. And beyond that, Route 47, maybe a quarter mile. I can make it. I have to make it. I'm maybe 50 yards from the tower when I hear the fence rattling violently behind me. I look back and see them coming over it. Not climbing carefully like I did, just forcing their way over, getting cut on the barbed wire and not caring. 3 of them are over. 5, 10. I turn and hop run faster, my vision swimming with pain and exhaustion. The access road is rough dirt and gravel. I'm making too much noise. Every step on my bad ankle sends lightning up my leg. Behind me, the sound of pursuit, but I'm faster. Even injured, even dehydrated and starving, I'm faster than they are. The gap widens. I reach the main field, nothing but stubble, dirt, and corn stalks. And I keep going. My breath is coming in sobs. My vision is narrowing to a tunnel. Don't pass out. Don't stop. The highway is ahead. I can see it in the moonlight, the cracked pavement, the abandoned cars scattered along it. If I can reach one of those cars, get inside, lock the doors, I'll be safe. At least temporarily. 100 yards, 75, 50. My right foot catches on something, a furrow in the field, a rock, and I go down hard. My hands hit the dirt. My face hits the dirt. For a second, I just lie there, tasting blood and soil, wondering if I should just stay down. It would be easier. No more pain, no more fear. Just let them catch up. But I get up. I don't know why. Survival instinct, stubbornness, stupidity. I get up and I keep moving. The highway shoulder is gravel, then pavement. There's a pickup truck about 30 yards to my right, driver's door hanging open. I make for it, hopping, dragging my left leg. Almost there. Something moves in the truck bed. I freeze. An infected sits up from where it had been lying in the truck bed, turns its head toward me. Our eyes meet. It starts making that sound. I reverse direction, hopping back the way I came, and nearly run into two more infected coming up behind me. They're on the road now, emerging from between abandoned cars drawn by the noise. I'm surrounded. There's a semi-truck jackknifed across both lanes about 40 yards south. The trailer has broken open, and boxes are scattered across the pavement. I make for it, weaving between infected, using my good leg to push off and change direction when they lunge. My ankle is screaming. Everything is screaming. I reach the semi and scramble onto the hood of the cab, using the side mirror as a foothold. The roof of the cab is flat and empty. I pull myself up and collapse. They gather around the truck below me, dozens of them, more arriving every minute. The ones from the tower are here now. Others are coming from the fields, from the road, from everywhere. I'm trapped again, this high up in the air on top of a truck cab, and the irony would be funny if I wasn't so close to dying. At least there's water, and the emergency survival kit that's bungeed to the cab roof. Truckers keep them up here. I've seen them before. There's a gallon jug of water. It's half full. There's also a Mylar emergency blanket, a flashlight that doesn't work, and a pack of stale crackers. I drink the water slowly, forcing myself not to gulp. My body screams for more, but I know that drinking too fast when you're this dehydrated can kill you. Small sips. Small sips. The water tastes like plastic in heaven. The crackers are almost impossible to eat at first. My mouth is too torn up, my throat too raw, but I soften them with water and choke them down. Calories, salt. My body absorbs them desperately. It's almost dawn now. I can see the eastern sky going gray. The infected below aren't leaving. If anything, the crowd is growing. I count at least 60 around this immediate truck, with more visible up and down the highway. I'm still trapped. But I have water, have a little food. I'm on a stable surface where I can sit or lie down without falling. Compared to the cell tower platform, this is luxury. I wrap myself in the emergency blanket. It's thin, but it reflects body heat, and close my eyes for just a minute. Just a short rest, I wake up to full daylight and heat. The sun is high, maybe noon. I slept for hours, my body shutting down the moment it felt even marginally safe. My ankle is swollen to twice its normal size, the skin purple and tight. My hands are shredded from climbing, my lips are cracked and bleeding. But I'm alive. The water jug is next to me. I drink more, then force myself to stop with about a third remaining. I need to ration. I don't know how long I'll be up here. From the cab roof, I can see more than I could from the ground, but less than from the tower. The highway runs east-west, mostly straight, lined with abandoned vehicles in various states of disarray. Some are crashed, others are just stopped, doors open, possessions scattered. To the north, the direction I came from, I can see the cell tower sticking up from the field, a dark line against the sky. To the south, the highway eventually reaches another small town. I think it's called Henderson, maybe 15 miles away. Between here and there, nothing but empty land, more abandoned cars, and wandering infected. The infected below me have settled into a pattern. Most of them just stand there, staring up, occasionally reaching toward me. A few wander off and are replaced by new arrivals. They don't seem to need food or water or rest. They just are. Existing in some kind of minimal state, driven by whatever instinct or infection has taken them over. I spend the afternoon watching them, trying to understand. They were people once. Some of them are still wearing the clothes that marked their old lives: work uniforms, soccer mom athleisure, trucker flannel, kids' cartoon t-shirts. One of them is a woman in scrubs, hospital ID badge still clipped to her pocket, her dark hair matted with what looks like dried blood. She stares up at me with clouded eyes. I wonder who she was. Nurse, doctor, tech. Did she have family? Did she try to help people when this started, or did she run? Not that it matters now. Now she's just another infected waiting below my truck like all the others. I need a plan. I can't stay up here forever. The water will run out in a day, maybe 2 if I'm careful. The crackers are already gone. I ate the rest of them this afternoon without thinking, my body demanding calories. This cab roof is better than the tower platform, but it's still a trap. The highway is the key. If I can get into one of these vehicles and get it started, I can drive away. But every vehicle I can see from here either has infected in it, near it, or inside the cab. And I can't get down to check without being immediately swarmed. Unless I wait for night. The infected are less active at night. I noticed it at the tower. They don't sleep, but they slow down, become less responsive. Maybe their eyes don't work as well in the dark, or maybe whatever drives them is partially dependent on light. Either way, after midnight, they're sluggish. So that's the plan. Tonight, after midnight, I climb down from the cab as quietly as possible and check nearby vehicles for keys. If I can find one that works, I drive it out of here. Head south toward Henderson, or west toward wherever. Find other survivors, find safety, find something other than this. It's a bad plan. They're all bad plans. But it's what I have. The sun crawls across the sky. I try to conserve energy, lying still in the shade of my own body, but the metal cab roof is an oven. By mid-afternoon, I'm dizzy again from heat. I use some of my precious water to wet my shirt and drape it over my head. It helps, but not much. The day drags on forever. I drift in and out of consciousness, not really sleeping, but not really awake either. I think about Craig, about how he died. I think about my sister in Columbus, wondering if she's alive or if she's one of them now. I think about my apartment, my stuff, my life that probably doesn't exist anymore. When I was a kid, I used to have nightmares about being chased, standard anxiety dream stuff, running from something, legs not working right, can't scream. I'd wake up gasping, this feels like that, except it's real and I can't wake up. Sunset comes. The sky goes orange and red, beautiful and terrible. The temperature drops fast. I put the emergency blanket around my shoulders and wait for dark. By 10 p.m., the moon is up. Not as full as last night, but still bright enough to see by. The infected below are still active, still watching me. I need to wait longer. Midnight. They're slower now, some of them standing completely still. Others are wandering away. This is as good as it's gonna get. I lower myself off the front edge of the cab roof, moving as quietly as possible. The windshield is crazed with cracks, but intact. I use it like a ladder, feet finding the wiper blades, hands gripping the roof edge. Then, I'm hanging from the windshield frame, about to drop to the hood. One of the infected turns toward me, makes a sound. I drop onto the hood, trying to land softly, but my bad ankle buckles and I grunt in pain. The sound carries. Multiple infected turn, start moving toward the front of the truck. I slide off the hood to the pavement and nearly fall. My ankle can barely support weight. The nearest vehicle is a sedan about 10 feet away, driver's door open. I hop toward it as fast as I can, hearing shuffling steps behind me. The sedan's interior is dark. I can't see if there are keys in the ignition. I lean in, groping, and my hand touches something soft and cold. An arm. There's an infected in the driver's seat, slumped over. It grabs my wrist and starts pulling me in. I yank backwards, screaming, and fall on the pavement. The infected pulls itself out of the car and falls on top of me. Its face is inches from mine. I can smell death and rot. Its mouth opens, and I get my right forearm up in time to block it from biting my face. Teeth close on the fabric of my hoodie sleeve. I feel pressure, but no penetration yet. I punch it in the side of the head with my left hand, once, twice. Doesn't let go. Just keeps trying to bite through the fabric. Other infected are coming, drawn by the noise. I'm going to die here on the highway, pulled apart by dead people in the moonlight. My right hand finds something on my belt. The knife. I carry a utility knife for work, small folding blade. Barely 3 inches long. I fumble it open and stab upward into the infected's throat. It makes a gurgling sound, but doesn't stop. I stab again, higher, and the blade goes into its head through the soft tissue under its jaw. It goes still, heavy, dead weight on top of me. I shove it off and roll away. My ankle screams. The other infected are close now, reaching for me. I crawl under the sedan, beneath the chassis, into the dark space between the wheels. They can't reach me here. They drop to their hands and knees and try, but the car is too low. Their fingers scrabble inches from my face. I'm trapped under a car on the highway, surrounded by infected, injured, and exhausted. This is where I'm gonna die. Not on the tower, not on the truck. Here. But I don't die. I lie under that sedan for hours, watching their legs shuffle around, listening to their frustrated sounds. Gradually, as dawn approaches, some of them wander off. Not all. There are still a dozen or so nearby, but enough that the area thins out. When the sun comes up, I can see better. The sedan I'm under has keys in the ignition. I can see them dangling, but I can't reach them from under the car, and I can't get out without being grabbed. There's another option. On the other side of the sedan, maybe 20 feet away, there's a minivan. Its sliding door is open, and I can see from here that the interior is empty. If I could reach it, I could climb inside and close the door. It wouldn't be escape, but it would be shelter. 20 feet, with a bad ankle and infected between me and the target. I wait until noon, when the heat is worst and the infected are most sluggish. Then, I drag myself out from under the sedan on the side, away from most of them. My ankle won't support weight at all anymore. I crawl. Pavement tears at my palms and knees. The minivan is impossibly far away. An infected notices me and starts toward me, moving in that jerky, fast walk they do. I crawl faster. 10 feet. 5. I reach the minivan and haul myself through the open sliding door. The infected grabs my bad ankle and pulls. I scream and kick at it with my good leg, connecting with its face. It staggers back and I roll fully into the van and slam the door closed. Safe. Temporarily. The minivan is a disaster. Car seats in the back, trash on the floor, sippy cups in the cup holders. A family vehicle. I don't see bodies, which is something. Maybe they escaped. Maybe they're shambling around somewhere as infected. I try not to think about it. The keys are not in the ignition. I search everywhere. Center console, glove box, under the seats. Nothing. The minivan is just another trap, albeit one with doors. But it's better than the truck cab. There's more space to stretch out. The seats recline. And most importantly, I find supplies. A half-empty water bottle and a cup holder. A box of granola bars in the back, a first aid kit under the passenger seat. The first aid kit is a gold mine. Bandages, antibiotic ointment, pain pills. I swallow 4 ibuprofen dry and immediately wrap my ankle, tight enough to provide support, but not so tight that I cut off circulation. My hands get bandaged next. The cuts aren't deep, but they're dirty, and I don't need an infection on top of everything else. The granola bars are stale and taste like cardboard mixed with sawdust, but they're calories. I eat 2 and save the rest. The water is warm and tastes like plastic, but it's wet. I drink half and save the rest. With the supplies secured and my immediate needs met, I allow myself to really examine the situation. I'm trapped in a minivan on a highway surrounded by infected. I have water for maybe a day, food for 2 days if I'm careful. My ankle is badly injured, probably a severe sprain, possibly broken. I have no way to call for help and no realistic prospect of rescue. The smart thing would be to stay here, conserve energy and supplies, wait for an opportunity. But opportunities don't come when you're surrounded. The infected aren't going to leave. Every hour I wait, I get weaker. I need to hotwire a vehicle and drive out of here. That means getting back out there, finding a car that runs, and getting it started without keys. I've never hotwired a car in my life, but I've seen it done in movies. Can't be that hard, right? It's absolutely that hard. I spend the afternoon watching the infected through the minivan's windows, learning their patterns. They move randomly, but not completely randomly. They seem drawn to sound and movement. When a bird lands on a nearby car hood, 3 infected immediately turn toward it. When the wind blows trash across the highway, they track it with their eyes. They're not completely mindless. There's something still working in there, some primitive awareness. It's horrifying and sad at the same time. By evening, I've made my decision. After dark, I'll exit the minivan, crawl to the nearest likely vehicle. There's a pickup truck about 30 feet away that looks intact, and try to start it. If I can't get it started in a few minutes, I retreat back to the minivan and try again tomorrow with a different vehicle. Simple plan. Terrible odds. The sun sets, the sky darkens, the moon rises, a day thinner than last night. The infected slow down as midnight approaches. I get ready. In the first aid kit, there's a small pair of scissors. I also have my utility knife. Not much for weapons, but better than nothing. I put on the darkest clothes I have. My hoodie is navy blue. My jeans are dark. I blacken my face with dirt from the floor of the minivan. Urban camouflage. At midnight, I open the sliding door. The nearest infected is about 10 feet away, facing the other direction. I lower myself to the pavement and start crawling toward the pickup. My ankle throbs with every tiny movement. I'm too slow. An infected turns and sees me. It makes that sound. I abandon crawling and lurch to my feet, hopping on my good leg. The pickup is right there. I reach it and yank the driver's door open. The interior light comes on, bright in the darkness. The infected are converging, no keys in the ignition. I tear open the panel under the steering column. Wires spill out. I grab 2 that look promising and twist the bare ends together. Nothing happens. I try 2 different wires. Still nothing. I have no idea what I'm doing. The infected are at the truck. Hands grab at my legs through the open door. I kick and pull myself fully into the cab, slamming the door on reaching fingers. One of them gets its arm caught. I shove the door harder and hear bones crack, but it doesn't pull away, just keeps pushing. And this isn't working. I need to get back to the minivan. I climb over the center console into the passenger seat and exit that door. The infected from the driver's side haven't circled around yet. I have maybe 5 seconds. I run toward the minivan, arms windmilling for balance. I don't make it. My foot catches on something and I fall hard on the pavement. The infected are on me before I can get up. Hands grab my hoodie, my arms, my legs. I'm being pulled in multiple directions. I scream and fight, and it doesn't matter because there are too many of them. Then, something changes. The pressure releases. The infected backs off, moving away from me. I don't understand until I hear the sound, a loud engine getting closer. Headlights sweep across the highway. A vehicle is approaching from the west, moving fast. It's a big truck, heavy duty, with a welded cage around the cab and what looks like armor plating. As it gets closer, I see there are people in the back, behind protective bars. They're shouting, waving at me. The truck skids to a stop about 20 yards away. A door opens and someone jumps out. A woman with short hair, wearing tactical gear and carrying a rifle. She fires twice, dropping 2 infected that were between her and me. Then, she's running toward me. "Can you walk?" she shouts. "Barely." She gets an arm around me and half carries me toward the truck. Other infected are closing in. The woman fires behind us without looking, one-handed, while supporting my weight. We reach the truck and hands pull me up into the bed. The woman jumps in after me and pounds on the cab roof. "Go!" The truck accelerates, engine roaring. Infected bounce off the armored bumper. We're moving, leaving them behind, and I can't believe it. I'm rescued. I'm alive. I pass out. I wake up in a bed, an actual bed with sheets and a pillow. For a confused moment, I think it was all a nightmare, that I'm home in my apartment and none of it happened. Then, I try to move, and the pain in my ankle reminds me that it's all real. I'm in a small room, maybe 10 by 10, with concrete walls and no windows. There's a battery-powered lantern hanging from a hook in the ceiling, providing dim light. Next to the bed is a small table with a water bottle and some pills. On the walls are faded posters, motivational quotes about teamwork and safety. I'm in some kind of office or facility. The door opens and the woman who rescued me enters. She's younger than I thought, maybe early 30s, with short blonde hair and a scar across her left eyebrow. She's not carrying the rifle anymore, just a pistol in a hip holster. "You're awake," she says. "Good. I'm Sarah. How do you feel?" "Like I got run over by a truck." "Considering where we found you, that's not far off. What's your name?" "Mike." "Mike, you're lucky to be alive. What the hell were you doing out there alone?" I tell her everything. The cell tower, Craig being trapped, the descent, the highway. She listens without interrupting, her expression neutral. When I finish, she nods. "You survived 9 days alone. That's impressive, actually. Most people don't make it past day 3. Where am I?" "An old National Guard depot about 40 miles south of where we found you. We've turned it into a safe zone. About 60 people here, all survivors like you. We've got walls, supplies, power from solar panels. It's not paradise, but it's secure." "How many of these safe zones are there?" Her expression darkens. "Ours? We're the only one I know of within 100 miles. There used to be others, but..." She trails off. "Things are bad out there, Mike, really bad. The infection spread faster than anyone expected. The government tried to contain it, failed, collapsed, military scattered. Most cities are completely overrun. The infected seem to be drawn to concentrations of living people, so the bigger the population center, the worse it got. So what? We just hide here forever? We survive. That's all anyone can do right now. We make supply runs, rescue survivors when we can, fortify our position. Maybe someday there'll be a cure or a plan or something, but until then, we stay alive. It's not the answer I wanted, but it's the only honest one." Sarah leaves me to rest. Over the next few days, I meet the other survivors. They're a mixed group: families, loners, former military, people from all walks of life, brought together by disaster. There's a council that makes decisions. There are work assignments. There are rules about noise, about waste disposal, about going outside the walls. It's society in miniature, rebuilt from scratch. My ankle heals slowly. It wasn't broken, just a severe sprain, but it takes weeks before I can walk without limping. During that time, I'm assigned light duties, inventory management, water purification monitoring, radio watch. We have a ham radio set up, and someone's always listening, hoping to hear other survivors, other safe zones, anything. Mostly there's just static. Sometimes I go up to the depot's observation tower, not as tall as the cell tower, only 40 feet, but enough to see the surrounding area. The view is familiar in its desolation. Abandoned farms, empty roads, distant towns that are either burned or overrun. And infected, always infected, wandering alone or in small groups, drawn by some instinct toward wherever the living might be. From up there, I can just barely see the cell tower where Craig died. It's a thin line on the horizon, easy to miss if you don't know where to look. Sometimes I stare at it and think about those 9 days, about the choices we made, about luck and timing, and how thin the margin between survival and death really is. We could have left the tower immediately when the alert started. We'd probably be dead. The roads were chaos, and being mobile during the initial outbreak was almost a death sentence. We could have stayed up there and rationed nothing, died of thirst within a week. We could have both tried to climb down that first night, fallen, died. The fact that I'm here, alive, feels more like accident than accomplishment. Sarah tells me I'm being too hard on myself. You survived, she says. That's not an accident. That's skill and determination and intelligence. Give yourself credit. Maybe she's right. Or maybe I'm just the person who got lucky while everyone else got dead. The depot settles into a routine. Wake up, check the perimeter, assign work details, scavenge runs, meals, maintenance, sleep. Every few days, a scavenging team goes out in the armored truck, looking for supplies in abandoned stores and warehouses. Sometimes they bring back food, medicine, tools. Sometimes they bring back survivors. Sometimes they come back one person short, and we have a quiet memorial service for whoever didn't make it. The infected don't attack the depot directly. The walls are too high, 12 feet of reinforced concrete topped with chain link and barbed wire. But they gather outside, attracted by the noise and smell of living people. We have to cull them periodically, picking them off from the walls with rifles, burning the bodies. It's grim work. I volunteer for radio duty often. I like the quiet of the radio room, the repetitive task of scanning frequencies, the faint hope that someday I'll hear something other than static or automated emergency broadcasts that no one updates anymore. Most of what I hear is white noise, dead air, the occasional squeal of interference. But sometimes there are voices. They're never good news. A man in Kentucky, barricaded in a farmhouse, begging for help. His transmission cuts off mid-sentence. A woman in Tennessee, crying, describing how her husband and children were infected. She asks if anyone knows how to cure it. No one responds. An automated voice from some government facility repeating coordinates and instructions for evacuation that stopped being relevant weeks ago. I log everything, even though it's mostly pointless. The council reviews the logs weekly, looking for patterns or useful information. Mostly they find despair. 3 months after my rescue, something changes. I'm on radio duty, half asleep in the early morning hours, when I hear a new voice, male, calm, professional, military cadence. This is Colonel Marcus Hayes, United States Army, broadcasting from Redoubt 7. We are a secured military installation with supplies, medical facilities, and defensive capabilities. We are offering safe haven to civilian survivors. Our coordinates are... I'm fully awake now, scrambling to record the transmission. He repeats the message, giving coordinates somewhere in West Virginia, about 200 miles east of us. He includes details. The redoubt is an underground facility, hardened against attack, designed to support 500 people long-term. They have power, water, food stores, medical personnel. They're accepting refugees but vetting carefully. No infected, no one who's been bitten, strict quarantine protocols. When the transmission ends, I run to wake Sarah and the council. Within an hour, everyone in the depot knows. There's hope again, real hope, not just day-to-day survival. A military installation with resources and organization, a place that might actually have a plan beyond just waiting to die. The council debates for 2 days. Some people want to go immediately. Others are skeptical. It could be a trap, or the military might be as desperate as we are, or the redoubt might be overrun by the time we get there. Travel is dangerous. We'd need to take everyone, or split up and risk never reuniting. In the end, we vote. 43 people vote to attempt the journey to Redoubt 7. 17 vote to stay at the depot. It's not unanimous, but it's a majority. We spend a week preparing. Every vehicle we have gets armored and fueled. Supplies are distributed evenly. Weapons are checked and rechecked. Those who are staying take what they need to maintain the depot. Those who are going pack light, only essentials, only what we can carry if we have to abandon the vehicles. I'm going. I volunteered immediately. After 9 days on a cell tower platform, the idea of a hardened military facility sounds like heaven. The convoy leaves at dawn on a cold October morning. 5 vehicles, the armored truck that rescued me, 2 SUVs with welded reinforcements, a box truck full of supplies, and a school bus with wire mesh over the windows. 43 people heading east into unknown territory, chasing a radio broadcast and a promise of safety. Sarah drives the lead truck. I'm in the passenger seat, a map spread across my lap, plotting our route. We're avoiding interstates, too many abandoned vehicles, too many choke points, and sticking to state highways and county roads. It'll take longer, but it's safer. The first day is uneventful. We see infected, but they're scattered, easy to avoid. We pass through small towns that are either deserted or filled with the dead. We don't stop except for bathroom breaks and fuel transfers. By nightfall, we've covered 70 miles, and we're all exhausted. We camp in a fortified farm, the kind of place someone tried to make into a safe zone before it failed. The house is burned out, but the barn is intact. We pull the vehicles inside and post guards. Dinner is cold, canned food, eaten in near silence. Everyone's too nervous to talk. That night, I dream about the cell tower. I'm climbing down the outside in the dark, but this time when I jump from the lowest brace, Craig is waiting at the bottom. He looks up at me, and his eyes are clouded and dead, and he makes that sound. I wake up gasping. Day 2 is harder. We encounter a herd of infected. That's what we call it when there are dozens or hundreds of them moving together, crossing our path. We have to divert 15 miles south, losing time and burning fuel. One of the SUVs breaks down, and we spend 4 hours fixing it while infected are drawn to the sound of our work. We have to shoot 8 of them, and the gunfire attracts more. By the time we get moving again, we're all rattled. Day 3 brings rain, cold, and steady. The roads turn to mud in places, the bus gets stuck, and we have to tow it out. We're behind schedule, still 50 miles from the coordinates Hayes gave. We find shelter in an abandoned warehouse and try to dry out. That night, one of the refugees, a woman named Patricia, who'd been with the depot since the beginning, doesn't wake up. She just died in her sleep, no warning, no injury. The medic says it was probably her heart. She was in her 60s, heavy smoker before the apocalypse, and the stress finally caught up. We bury her outside the warehouse, a shallow grave marked with a cross made from scrap wood. It's the first death since we left the depot, but it won't be the last. Day 4. We're close now, maybe 20 miles from the coordinates. The landscape has changed. More hills, more trees, fewer farms. This is mountain country, old coal mining territory. The roads are worse, narrow and winding. Perfect ambush country, which is exactly what happens. We're driving through a cut between 2 hills when the trees on both sides erupt with gunfire. Not aimed at us, aimed at the infected that were following our convoy. We didn't even know they were there, but whoever's shooting did. The infected drop, headshots, maybe 30 of them in 10 seconds. Then the shooting stops, and a voice calls out through a megaphone. "Convoy, shut off your engines and exit your vehicles with hands visible. You are entering a secured military zone. Failure to comply will be considered hostile." We comply. What choice do we have? Soldiers emerge from the trees, maybe 20 of them, wearing proper military gear with night vision and body armor. They're professional, efficient, and heavily armed. They separate us into groups, check us for bites and infections, confiscate our weapons. It takes an hour, but it's thorough. Finally, an officer approaches Sarah. He's older, maybe 50, with gray hair and tired eyes. His uniform says, Hayes, on the name tape. "You came because of my broadcast," he says. It's not a question. "Yes, sir," Sarah says. "Colonel Hayes?" "That's me. How many in your group?" 42 now. We lost one on the way." He nods like he expected that. "You understand we have strict protocols. Everyone will be quarantined for 72 hours. If anyone shows signs of infection, they'll be isolated. If anyone is bitten and conceals it, they'll be executed. These rules are non-negotiable. We understand. Good. Welcome to Redoubt 7. Redoubt is everything the broadcast promised, and less than I hoped. It's an old Cold War installation, built into the side of a mountain, designed to survive nuclear war. The entrance is a massive blast door that takes 4 people to crank open. Inside is a network of tunnels and chambers carved out of solid rock, retrofitted with modern equipment. Power comes from a geothermal plant deep underground. Water comes from an aquifer. Air filtration systems keep the environment stable. It's also cramped, cold, and claustrophobic. The quarantine area is a converted storage chamber with cots lined up in rows. We're locked in for 3 days while military doctors check us every 6 hours for signs of infection. The infected turn within 24 hours of being bitten, so 3 days is overkill. But Hayes doesn't take chances. During quarantine, I learned more about Redoubt 7. It was designed to house 300 military and government personnel during a crisis. Currently, it holds just over 400 people, military, civilian refugees, and a handful of scientists who were doing research on the infection before everything collapsed. The facility is at capacity. Hayes has stopped broadcasting coordinates because they can't take any more refugees. We're the last group that will be admitted. The research team is trying to understand the infection. They've determined it's not a virus or bacteria. It's something else, maybe a prion or a parasite, something that spreads through fluid contact and rewrites the brain. The infected aren't dead, technically. Their bodies still function, hearts beat, lungs breathe. But the higher brain functions are gone, replaced by primitive drives: hunt, consume, spread. There's no cure. The scientists are emphatic about that. Once you're infected, you're gone. The person you were doesn't exist anymore. We pass quarantine. All 42 of us are cleared and integrated into the Redoubt population. We're assigned quarters, small shared rooms carved into the rock, and given work assignments based on our skills. I end up in communications, monitoring radio frequencies, and maintaining the equipment. It's familiar work. I settle into it. Life in the Redoubt is structured and regulated. There are schedules for meals, work, sleep, exercise. Resources are rationed carefully. Every person gets 2,000 calories per day, enough to survive but not thrive. Water is unlimited thanks to the aquifer, but everything else is finite. The military runs the place with a light touch, but they're clearly in charge. Hayes makes the big decisions, but there's a civilian council that handles day-to-day issues. It's a balance, mostly functional, occasionally tense. I've been here for 2 months when Hayes calls a general meeting in the main assembly chamber. Everyone who can fit crowds in, maybe 300 people, with the rest listening on speakers in their quarters. Hayes looks older than when we arrived. The stress is killing him slowly. "I'll be direct," he says. "Our food supplies are running low faster than projected. The hydroponic gardens are producing, but not enough to sustain 400 people long term. At current consumption rates, we'll be out of stored food in 6 months. After that, we'll be dependent entirely on what we can grow, which isn't sufficient." Silence. Everyone understands what he's saying. 6 months until rationing gets severe, maybe 8 months until people start starving. "We have options," Hayes continues. "We can reduce rations now and stretch our supplies longer. We can send out foraging teams to abandoned warehouses and distribution centers, though that's increasingly risky. Or we can reduce our population to sustainable levels. That last option hangs in the air like poison gas. Reduce our population. He means exile, sending people back outside where the infected wait. A death sentence. "We're not making that decision today," Hayes says quickly, "but we need to be realistic about our situation. I'm open to suggestions." The meeting devolves into arguments. Some people want to send out aggressive scavenging teams. Others want to reduce rations immediately. A few suggest that we identify the least useful members and ask for volunteers to leave. It gets ugly fast. Finally, Sarah stands up. She's become a leader among the refugee population, respected for her competence and calm demeanor. "We need more food production," she says. "That means expanding the hydroponics or finding alternative food sources. I know there are old mine tunnels connected to this facility that aren't being used. Could we grow mushrooms there? Set up insect farms?" "I've read about cricket protein being sustainable." One of the scientists speaks up. "That's actually viable. We'd need to set up proper ventilation and lighting, but mushroom cultivation in particular is feasible. It won't solve everything, but it could supplement." Hayes nods. "Put together a proposal. If it's workable, we'll allocate resources." The meeting ends without resolution, but at least there's a plan that doesn't involve throwing people to the infected. Over the next month, I volunteer for the mushroom cultivation project. It's something to do, and it keeps me busy. We clear out an old tunnel section, install growing racks, and inoculate substrate with mushroom spores. It's slow work, but within weeks, we have our first harvest. Not much, maybe 50 pounds of oyster mushrooms, but it's proof of concept. The cricket farm is less successful. Turns out maintaining proper temperature and humidity for insects is harder than it sounds, and most of our initial stock dies. But we're learning. The scavenging teams have mixed results. Some runs bring back warehouses full of canned goods. Others find nothing but infected and danger. We lose 2 people in December when a team gets trapped in a distribution center and has to fight their way out. One was killed by infected, the other died from injury sustained when she fell through a collapsed floor. Winter settles in. Outside the redoubt, snow covers the mountains. Inside, the temperature stays constant, regulated by the geothermal system. It's comfortable but surreal. No seasons, no weather, no connection to the natural world. Just artificial light and recycled air, and the knowledge that we're hiding underground while the planet dies above us. I spend a lot of time in the communications room, listening to the radio. There are fewer voices now. Some transmissions have stopped entirely, people running out of supplies or getting overrun or giving up. Other transmissions are new, survivors in far-flung locations reporting in. I log everything, plotting known survivor groups on a map. The picture is bleak. Humanity is scattered, isolated, dying. One night in January, I pick up a transmission from the cell tower. I recognize the location from the coordinates embedded in the signal. Someone has powered up the equipment at the Route 47 tower and is using it to broadcast. The voice is female, young, scared. This is Amanda Hayes, broadcasting from the Route 47 tower. I'm alone. I've been here for 3 weeks. If anyone can hear this, please respond. I'm running out of food and water. Please, if you're out there, help me. Amanda Hayes. Hayes. I key the microphone before I can think better of it. Amanda, this is Mike Chen at Redoubt 7. Is Colonel Hayes your father? A pause. Then, Mike? Oh my God. Someone answered. Yes, Marcus Hayes is my father. Is he there? Is he alive? He's alive. He's the commander here. How did you end up at the tower? I was trying to reach him. I heard his broadcasts started traveling toward West Virginia. I was with a group, but we got separated when we were attacked. I climbed the tower to get away from them, and now I can't get down. There are hundreds of them down there. The same tower, the same trap, different person, same nightmare. Amanda, stay where you are. I'm going to tell your father. We'll come get you. Please hurry. I don't know how much longer I can hold out. I find Hayes in his office and explain the situation. The color drains from his face. He didn't know his daughter was still alive, thought she died in the initial outbreak with her mother. Where is she? He asks. Route 47 tower, about 150 miles west of here. She's been there for 3 weeks, running out of supplies. He's on his feet immediately. Assemble a rescue team, full gear, heavy weapons. We leave within the hour. Sir, that's a long trip. The infected population has grown significantly in that area. It's extremely dangerous. I don't care. She's my daughter. He means it. In that moment, all the military discipline and cold calculation falls away, and he's just a father desperate to save his child. The rescue team consists of 12 people: Hayes, Sarah, me, and 9 soldiers. We take 2 armored vehicles loaded with weapons and supplies. The plan is simple: drive to the tower, clear the infected, extract Amanda, and return. Should take 3 days round trip if nothing goes wrong. Everything goes wrong. The first 100 miles are manageable. We stick to back roads, avoid major infected concentrations, make good time. But as we get closer to the tower, the density of infected increases dramatically. They're drawn to something in this area. Maybe the tower's broadcasting signal, maybe something else. The roads are choked with them. We have to fight our way through. The vehicles are equipped with modified plows that push infected aside, but some of them get stuck or grab on. We have to stop repeatedly to clear them, wasting time and ammunition. By the time we reach the field where the tower stands, it's late afternoon, and we're all exhausted. The fence around the tower is gone, torn down. The concrete equipment shelter is a ruin, door ripped off, walls cracked. And the tower itself is surrounded by a sea of infected. I estimate at least 400 of them, maybe more, packed so dense you can't see the ground. Jesus, Sarah whispers. Hayes is staring through binoculars at the top of the tower. I follow his gaze and see a figure up there, wrapped in what looks like an emergency blanket, waving frantically. "We can't drive through that," one of the soldiers says. "There's too many." "Then we clear them," Hayes says. "Sir, we don't have enough ammunition to kill 400 infected. We don't need to kill them all, just enough to create a path to the tower. We send a team up the ladder, extract Amanda, and retreat. Fast in, fast out." It's insane, but no one argues. Hayes is beyond reason, and honestly, I understand. I've been where Amanda is. I know what it's like up there. We prepare for the assault. The vehicles are positioned to provide cover fire. 10 of us will advance on foot, forming a corridor to the tower. Hayes, Sarah, and I will climb up and get Amanda. The others will maintain the corridor. Once we have her, we retreat to the vehicles and drive away. Simple. Suicide. The attack begins at dusk. The vehicles open up with mounted machine guns, mowing down infected in wide arcs. Bodies pile up. The rest press forward, climbing over their fallen. We advance behind the vehicles, firing constantly. The noise is apocalyptic. Gunfire, screaming infected, engines roaring. We reach the tower. The ladder is there, intact, splattered with old blood. I start climbing, Sarah behind me, Hayes behind her. The soldiers below form a defensive circle, holding back the tide. The climb seems to take forever. My arms burn. My breath comes in gasps. Below, I can hear the soldiers running out of ammunition, switching to melee weapons. This is taking too long. I reach the platform. Amanda is there, collapsed against the equipment rack, barely conscious. She's in worse shape than I was, emaciated, dehydrated, covered in sores. 3 weeks alone has nearly killed her. "Amanda," I gasp. "We're here. We're getting you out." She looks at me with hollow eyes. "Too many. Can't get down." "We're not leaving you." Sarah reaches the platform, then Hayes. He grabs his daughter and holds her, and for a moment the apocalypse doesn't exist. There's just a father and daughter reunited. Then the screaming from below gets worse. I look down. The defensive circle has collapsed. The soldiers are retreating toward the vehicles, fighting hand to hand with infected. There are too many. We're losing. "We have to go now," Sarah shouts. Hayes picks up Amanda. She can't walk, and we start down. Sarah leads. I follow. Hayes comes last with Amanda slung over his shoulder. The climb down is a controlled fall, grabbing rungs and sliding, barely maintaining grip. We're 50 feet from the bottom when the ladder shakes violently. Infected have reached it and are climbing. They're below us, cutting off our escape. "Jump!" Sarah yells. She leaps from 30 feet up, hits the ground rolling, comes up firing. I follow, land badly, feel something snap in my other ankle. Hayes jumps with Amanda, lands on top of an infected, crushes it. We're on the ground now, surrounded, fighting our way toward the vehicles. One of the soldiers is down, overwhelmed. Another is injured, being dragged by two others. We're not going to make it. There are too many of them, and not enough of us. Then I hear engines. 3 more vehicles crash through the infected herd, reinforcements from the redoubt. They plow through the mass, creating chaos, giving us an opening. We run for them, Hayes still carrying Amanda. Hands pull us into the vehicles. The doors slam shut. We're moving, crushing infected under our wheels, breaking through the herd. Gunfire from our escorts cuts down anything in our path. The tower grows distant behind us, and we're free. Back at Redoubt 7, the cost becomes clear. 2 soldiers dead, 3 injured. 1 vehicle destroyed, another badly damaged. Thousands of rounds of ammunition expended. And for what? 1 person retrieved. Some people are angry, resources are tight, and we spent them lavishly on a personal rescue mission. There are whispers that Hayes abused his authority, that he wouldn't have launched such a risky operation for anyone else. They're right. He wouldn't have. But I can't bring myself to condemn him for it. Amanda recovers slowly. She spends a week in the medical bay, getting rehydrated and treated for exposure. When she's strong enough, I visit her. "Thank you," she says. "My dad told me you're the one who heard my broadcast. I've been where you were. I know what it's like. 3 weeks on that platform. I thought I was going to die up there. I almost wanted to, just to make it stop. But you didn't. You held on. So did you, from what I hear. 9 days. That's incredible. Just lucky." We talk for a while longer. She tells me about her journey, about losing her mother and brother in the first weeks, about traveling alone through the infected wasteland trying to find her father. She's 22, was in college studying environmental science when the world ended. She wants to help with the hydroponic gardens, make herself useful. She'll fit in here. Another survivor, another person trying to find purpose in the apocalypse. 6 more months pass. Spring comes outside, though we only know because the day length changes and someone maintains a calendar. Inside the redoubt, nothing changes. Same tunnels, same artificial light, same recycled air. The food situation has stabilized. The mushroom farm is producing steadily. We've gotten better at cricket farming too, and while no one loves eating insects, protein is protein. Hayes has eased back on the strictest rationing. We're not comfortable, but we're not starving. The radio brings less news than before. Many of the voices I'd been tracking have gone silent. Either their broadcasts stopped, or they're no longer alive to transmit. The world is quieter now, emptier. One afternoon in late April, I'm monitoring frequencies when I hear something different. Not a human voice, but a data transmission. Coded packets, digital bursts. I record it and run it through our decryption software. It's a military transmission from a facility called Site R, identified as Raven Rock Mountain Complex in Pennsylvania. The message is automated, repeating every hour. "Attention all military and government personnel. Consolidated United States Command is operational at Raven Rock. We are coordinating recovery efforts and establishing secure zones. Military units are ordered to report status and position. Civilian survivors should shelter in place. Recovery teams will be deployed as resources permit. Stand by for further instructions." I bring it to Hayes immediately. He listens to the recording 3 times, then looks at me. "How long has this been broadcasting?" "I don't know. I just picked it up today, but it could have been transmitting for weeks and I missed it." Raven Rock. That's the underground Pentagon. If they're still operational, if there's an actual command structure, he trails off, thinking. This changes things. He calls an emergency council meeting. The broadcast is played for everyone. The reaction is mixed. Some people are excited. Maybe the government is actually doing something. Maybe there's a larger plan. Others are skeptical. "Stand by for further instructions" sounds like a stalling tactic, an empty promise. "We should make contact," Sarah says. Tell them about Redoubt 7. Coordinate with them. Or we stay quiet, another council member counters. The government couldn't save us before. Why would they now? We're stable here. Why risk drawing attention? The debate goes on for hours. Eventually, Hayes makes the decision. We'll attempt to contact Raven Rock, but we'll be cautious about what information we share. No coordinates, no details about our population or supplies. Just establish communication, see what they have to say. I'm tasked with making contact. Over the next week, I broadcast responses to their automated message, requesting acknowledgement and further instructions. Nothing comes back. Just the same automated message, looping endlessly. Then, on the 8th day, a human voice responds. Redoubt 7, this is Raven Rock Command. Authenticate your identity using procedure Delta 7. I don't know what procedure Delta 7 is. I tell them that. Redoubt 7, who is your commanding officer? Colonel Marcus Hayes, U.S. Army. A pause, then, stand by. 10 minutes later, a different voice. Marcus Hayes? This is General Wilcox. I thought you were dead. Hayes takes over the conversation. He and Wilcox apparently served together years ago, and there's genuine warmth in their exchange. Hayes explains our situation. Hardened underground facility, 400 survivors, self-sufficient, but isolated. Wilcox explains theirs. Raven Rock has survived, barely. They have maybe 200 military and government personnel, plus a few hundred civilian refugees. They're coordinating with other surviving military installations, trying to establish a chain of command, but resources are desperately limited. The infection is global. Society has collapsed worldwide. There is no cure, no quick fix, but there is a plan. Wilcox explains that Raven Rock is implementing something called Restoration Protocol, a long-term strategy to reclaim territory, establish secure zones, and rebuild infrastructure. It will take years, maybe decades, but it's a plan, and it gives people hope. Redoubt 7 is officially incorporated into the protocol. We're designated Zone 7, part of a network of secure facilities. We'll share information, coordinate supply runs, and eventually work toward reconnecting these isolated safe zones into something resembling civilization. It's not much, but it's more than we had yesterday. 2 years after I climbed down from the cell tower, life has stabilized into a new kind of normal. Redoubt 7 has grown. We've expanded into unused sections of the facility, converted old storage chambers into living quarters and workshops. The population has stayed around 400. We take in new refugees occasionally, but we also lose people. Disease, accidents, a failed scavenging run. Death is common enough that we've stopped holding elaborate memorials. Just a simple ceremony and a note in the log. The food situation has improved. We've tripled our mushroom production and started growing other fungi varieties. The hydroponics have been expanded. We even have a small livestock operation, rabbits and chickens producing meat and eggs. We're not thriving, but we're stable. Above ground, the infected remain. We monitor them through cameras and occasional surface missions. Their numbers may be declining. It's hard to tell, but they're still dangerous. Evolution hasn't made them weaker. If anything, they've adapted. The ones who survive are the ones who are better at hunting, better at working together in packs, but humans adapt too. We've developed better tactics for dealing with them, noise traps to draw them away from objectives, silent weapons to avoid attracting more, protective gear that's bite-resistant. We're learning. The radio network has expanded. There are 17 confirmed secure facilities now, scattered across the country, plus dozens of smaller survivor groups. Raven Rock coordinates them all, sharing information and resources. There's talk of someday physically connecting these zones, creating safe corridors through the infected territories. It's an ambitious dream, but that's all we have now. Dreams of a future that might exist if we work hard enough and survive long enough. I found purpose here. I train new people in radio operations, teach them the equipment and protocols. I lead occasional surface missions, using my experience to keep teams alive. I've become someone people rely on, which is strange and frightening and satisfying. Sometimes I still think about those 9 days on the cell tower, about Craig, about how close I came to dying, about the choices that led me here. I think about all the people who didn't make it, everyone who was on the tower, on the highway, in the towns I've seen burned and overrun. I survived. Don't know why. Luck, timing, the kindness of strangers, pure stubbornness. Maybe all of those, maybe none. Amanda has become a good friend. We're the only 2 people here who know what it's like to be trapped high above the world, watching everything fall apart, waiting to die. We don't talk about it much, but there's an understanding between us, a shared trauma that bonds us. She's thriving in her own way. She runs the hydroponics operation now, coaxing life out of artificial light and nutrient solutions. She's good at it. The gardens are producing more than anyone expected. She says it's because she talks to the plants, treats them like they're alive and aware. I don't know if that's science or superstition, but it works. Hayes has aged visibly. The weight of command, the stress of managing 400 lives in an apocalypse is grinding him down. But he never complains, never shirks responsibility. He's a good leader, even if the role is killing him slowly. Sarah and I have become something. Not quite a relationship, not just friends. In the before times, we probably would have dated, fallen in love, maybe built a life together. Now we just share a room sometimes, hold each other when the nightmares get bad, find comfort where we can. It's not romance exactly, but it's real. The world didn't end. It changed. Humanity didn't go extinct. We adapted. The infected didn't win. Neither did we. We just exist in this new reality, making the best of it. I'm on radio duty when the call comes in. A new voice, weak signal, but determined. This is Dr. Sarah Chen at the CDC Field Lab in Montana. We have news. Repeating. We have news about the infection. I key the microphone. CDC Field Lab. This is Redoubt 7. What news? We've identified the infectious agent. It's a modified prion, artificially engineered, which means it was created deliberately. This wasn't a natural outbreak. Someone made this. The implications crash over me like a wave. If it was created, there might be a cure, or at least a treatment. And someone, somewhere, did this on purpose. I alert Hayes and patch the transmission through to the main speakers. Everyone in the facility can hear now. Dr. Chen continues. We're still working on treatment options, but the fact that it's engineered gives us hope. Natural prions are nearly impossible to cure. Artificial ones might have built-in weaknesses. We need more resources, more time, but this is progress. Questions flood in from other facilities on the network. Dr. Chen answers what she can, admits what she doesn't know. The conversation goes on for hours. By the end, everyone is cautiously optimistic. Maybe there's a cure. Maybe we can reverse this. Maybe the world can heal. Or maybe it's just another false hope in a long series of disappointments. But hope is what keeps us alive. Hope and stubbornness and the refusal to give up. 5 years after the outbreak, I'm leading a surface mission near Millbrook. The town is still mostly ruins, but nature is reclaiming it. Vines cover buildings, trees grow through rooftops, animals have returned, deer, foxes, birds. The infected are fewer here now, dwindled by attrition in our regular culling operations. We're searching for a specific building, an old library that supposedly has paper records from the before times. Raven Rock wants us to preserve knowledge, collect books and documents before they're lost to rot and weather. The library is a 2-story brick building with most of its windows broken. We clear it carefully, room by room. No infected inside, just dust and decay. The books are damaged, water stains, mold, some destroyed entirely, but many are salvageable. We spend the afternoon packing books into crates, history, science, literature, technical manuals, pieces of the old world preserved for whatever comes next. In the children's section, I find a book about climbing towers, cell towers, radio towers, observation towers. The illustrations show tiny figures scaling impossible heights, and I'm thrown back to that September day when Craig and I climbed the Route 47 tower with no idea what was coming. I pack the book carefully and add it to the crate. On the drive back to Redoubt 7, I think about what we're doing. Preserving the past, surviving the present, building toward a future. It's not enough, but it's something. The infected world isn't permanent. Humanity is resilient, adaptive, stubborn. We survived ice ages and plagues and wars and disasters. We'll survive this too. The question isn't whether we'll make it. It's what kind of people we'll be when we do. I hope we remember the lessons. I hope we remember what we've lost. I hope we do better next time. But mostly, I just hope we make it to next time. 10 years after the outbreak, the world has changed in ways no one predicted. The infected are still out there, but their numbers have dropped significantly. Whether from attrition, evolution, or Dr. Bestin, Chen's experimental treatment that we've been aerially dispersing over populated areas, the tide has turned. Slowly, painfully, humanity is winning. Redoubt 7 has become a proper community. We've expanded to the surface, building structures around the entrance, fortifying them against the occasional infected incursion. We have farms, workshops, even a school for the children born during the apocalypse. Kids who've never known the before times, who think this is normal. The radio network has evolved into something like civilization. 17 secure facilities have become 42. Trade routes exist between them, guarded convoys carrying goods and information. There's even primitive internet connectivity, linking the facilities through repurposed satellite uplinks. Hayes retired from command 3 years ago. Sarah took over as chief administrator of Redoubt 7. She's good at it, better than she thinks. Amanda is now head of agriculture across all of Zone 7. I run communications and training. We've all found roles. We've all survived. The cell tower is still there. I hiked out to it last year, curious to see it after so much time. The infected are gone from the area. The tower stands alone in the field. Equipment boxes at the top, weathered but intact. The ladder's rusted, the platform is empty. I didn't climb it. Didn't see the point. That part of my life is over. But I stood at the base for a long time, looking up, remembering. Remembering Craig. Remembering 9 days of thirst and fear and desperation. Remembering the view from 280 feet, the world ending, laid out below me, while I clung to metal and waited to die. I survived. Amanda survived. Hundreds of others survived. Millions didn't. We carry them with us, the dead, the lost, the forgotten. They're part of us now, woven into who we've become. We survive for them, because they couldn't. The apocalypse didn't make us heroes. It just made us survivors. And maybe that's enough. I walk back to Redoubt 7 as the sun sets. The sky is clear, the air is cold, and somewhere in the distance, I hear voices, people talking, laughing, living. The sounds of humanity refusing to die. We've built something here. Not perfect, not the old world, but something new. Something that might last. I think about the future, about what comes next. Rebuilding cities, reconnecting continents, maybe even finding whoever created the infection and holding them accountable. Big dreams. But tonight, I'm just glad to be alive. Glad to have a bed to sleep in, people who care about me, work that matters. The small things, the daily victories. The world didn't end. It changed, and we changed with it. Tomorrow I'll climb the observation tower at Redoubt 7, only 40 feet high, nothing like the cell tower. And I'll look out over our territory, this small pocket of safety we've carved out of chaos. I'll see the farms, the buildings, the people moving about their lives. And I'll remember that view from the cell tower, how far I could see, how much I witnessed falling apart. Then, I'll look at what we've built, what we're building, and I'll know that we're going to make it. Not because we're strong or smart or lucky, but because we refuse to give up, because we're survivors, and survivors don't quit.